summer in the city, and shade is a precious commodity, and there's plenty of it underneath these bridges just here. I'm going to try and take a picture that tells the story of this wonderful pathway and the shade under there. Just going with the defaults, if you like. This is the frame that I get, and well, there's a lot going on here, both compositionally, and I'll come to that in a moment, but also in terms of light and shade. I've got my 1x camera lens, I've got the tunnel right in the center of frame, and I'll just take this frame before I try and improve it. Now, what occurs to me is that it's this tunnel that I'm particularly interested in, but it's very dark, and yes, I can try and ride the exposure a bit, but the reason it's dark, I think, is because we've just got a lot of light in here as well, particularly the sky, particularly the walls here against the pathway. So the camera only has a certain amount of dynamic range. One's camera can only capture a certain amount of light and a certain amount of dark at the same time. And it's sort of a sliding scale, if you like, and your camera does the best job of working out where the right place to capture the light and shade is. But here, there's so much light, particularly from the sky. Yes, high dynamic range can help, but here I think there's just a bit too much of everything. What I will do, though, is to just see what happens when I put my 2x lens on and just kind of focus the frame a little bit more. And that removes a lot of the clutter, and that does a couple of interesting things. I'm able to focus more on the tunnel, and interestingly, because I've removed a lot of light, especially the sky, it means there's a lot more detail in the darks. It's not just one dark mess under there on my viewfinder. I can actually see the writing on the walls. I can see the detail on the floor as well. And that's, in terms of telling the story of the tunnel there, a little bit more interesting. Compositionally, I think we might be able to do a little bit more. So if I just kind of lean to the left, ever so slightly, lean and angle to the left. I'm using the rule of thirds to just create a more interesting point of focus for the frame. I've got my grid lines on my camera as always, and now with my point of interest being on this left-hand side, I've got my wall on the right that's guiding my viewer's eyes through the frame. And on this left-hand side here is where I want my viewer's eyes to go. And so just by leaning left a little bit, I've got a lot more of this wall with all of the graffiti and artwork on it that now goes almost all the way across the screen and takes my viewer's eye to this point on the left. It's got a hint of this wall on the left-hand side as well. And the other thing I'm able to do now, even though I've lost the sky, I can use the horizontal line at the top of the bridge, just where there's that writing, graffiti, just to give me a bit of a kind of safe horizontal, so I know I'm in alignment. One more thing that I'm going to do to this scene, though, it's already looking a lot better in my camera, is when I had my finger in front of the lens, I noticed something interesting, that the camera was trying to focus on where my finger was. Now, if I just take my finger out, my camera focuses instead on these wild fruit, these blackberries that are just peering over the wall here. So now if I take that shot and just sort of lean in to that rule of thirds, my blackberries are in focus. I'm still seeing this wonderful line of the wall taking my viewer's eye across the frame, but because it's subtly out of focus, actually quite a lot out of focus, it just adds a sense of mystery, of something else going on there, which I really rather like. It means that my background is slightly blurred, and there's a real paradox for me that by focusing on something in the foreground, it really puts my attention as a viewer more on the background. It creates this sense of mystery, intrigue, and means I want to explore it that little bit more. And that, I think, is a lovely way of getting the most interest and the most visual appeal from this scene. This default frame straight out of the can is actually more pleasing than I imagined it would be. I really like the horizontal lines that the bridge and the power lines of the train give me. And it's quite interesting looking through the tunnel, but it is just a bit too much. I'm kind of distracted by what's happening on the side of the frame here. So better than I thought it might be, but still not quite as good as it could be. Zooming in on this frame with my camera's 2x lens, I'm able to focus the attention a lot more, lose a lot of the sky, lose the distraction of the overgrowth to the left and the right. And I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. The writing on the top of the bridge here is certainly one point of focus, but something I didn't notice was this pool of light right in the middle of the frame on the other side of the tunnels, really drawing my viewer's attention through the middle of the image. In this shot, I've chosen to focus on a foreground element, these wild blackberries off to the side, and by focusing on those, the rest of the frame is blown out of focus. But for me, that creates a sense of intrigue, a sense of mystery. By taking it out of focus, it means that I want to focus on it as a viewer even more. I want to try and understand what these slightly blurry paintings are on the side. And also I can see that there's a runner, good timing, just running through the frame as well. So this is a really successful shot of this bridge, of this fruit, of this walkway. I'm really, really happy with it.